Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I am back again with another gameplay video. This time I'm finally sitting back down to Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness, and I'm really excited to kind of show you the next mission in the campaign for that game, because this game is awesome, and the only reason I haven't been playing it more, honestly, is just because I've been doing a lot of other stuff on the channel. It's been a really busy time for Kickstarters and game founds and such. And, you know, there's just only so many hours in a day to create this content. Posting content to, you know, it's funny the things you have to worry about when you're a content creator, which is a really kind of pretentious way of saying dude who tapes himself playing board games. But, you know, you don't want everything to come out at the same time. You need to hold stuff back. And so I decided just to wait on this until the Game Found campaign for Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness, Apocalypse came out, because I thought that it would be of the most interest basically at that time, and honestly it would get watched more at that time. So here we are on the second mission of the campaign. So if you go back onto the channel, you should be able to find the first mission, which we completed successfully, and now we're moving on to the second. I'm gonna grab my handy dandy adventure book. I'm also in a new kind of setup in terms of how I film, so I'll be interested to see or hear feedback if anyone has it. I rigged up this hilarious thing with various bits and bobs I had sitting around the house so that I can kind of mount my camera and get that classic overhead view for my board game playthroughs. And so let me know in the comments if it's working, if you like the way that this looks, or maybe you preferred it the old way, etc. and so forth, and we'll go from there. Looks like everything is filming beautifully. All right, so got my Age of Darkness Apocalypse, or Age of Darkness adventure book, and we're moving on to mission 2, the Missing from Black River. It says, normally a journey to Black River would be a pleasant enough stroll through the shadowy woodlands, but not today. You pick your way carefully past caravans looted and burned and family farms ravaged and destroyed, always on the lookout for the presence of the darkness. Finally, you reach the outskirts of Black River to find the men of the village hastily raising a wooden palisade, their faces marked by fear and sleeplessness. The villagers do not stop to talk to you, sparing only sullen glances and suspicious looks. In search of answers, you seek out the village patriarch. The aged patriarch, dark-eyed and clearly frightened, refuses to see you until you reveal that the Church of the Setting Sun has sent you. You see a glimmer of hope in the man's eyes as he emerges from his hovel. Sit, sit. His words tumble out quickly from his lips. We are in desperate need. Our people have been going missing in the night without a trace. Their homes empty, with no sign of robbery or violence. We set some night guards, but they saw nothing but some strange lights through the trees, beyond the long-abandoned fortress of James Erst. Green lights that would flash in the sky, and the fog that seems to drink the light that touches it. Only one of our guards was brave enough to investigate. That was 3 days ago, and we have heard nothing from him. All we can do is try to defend our village and pray to the gods for succor. He trembles as he speaks. You are the answer to our prayers, adventurer. Please help us. How could you refuse such an impassioned request? Wasting no time, you set out into the forest, even though the afternoon shadows grow long and menacing. You notice that the villagers continue building their palisade, just in case. After an hour, you reach the crumbling pile that was once Erst's mighty fortress. A cold wind blows through the stones, creating a mournful, haunting howl. The last rays of the setting sun seem reluctant to shine on that place, and shreds of fog cling jealously to the tumbled stones. The walls show the mark of ancient battles, and you are fortunate to find a crevice long enough to squeeze through and enter the time-haunted ruins. Ahead, you sense a pale bluish light, and a chill sends tremors down your spine. The sound of running water reaches your ears as your eyes adapt to the dimness. Following the light, you find a stone chamber that has been spared most of the ravages of time. In the wall ahead, you see a stone gargoyle with bright red eyes, flanked by torches and sconces. One of them the source of the strange blue light. A spring pours crystalline waters through a crack in the wall, forming a watery mirror. The gargoyle's presence makes you shudder, or maybe it's something else. You can feel something watching you, lurking in the dark. The adventure goal is find the whereabouts of the missing townsfolk. So you can see, I've got my map set up. Although this is another one of these kind of situations where the picture of the tile does not actually match the design of the tile, which is a little off-putting, to be honest. So if I can grab this, if you look here, if you can see both of those, these are very similar, but this darkness spawning spot on the tile is not in the same spot that it is in the image. In the image, it's here. So this is one of those things that I've given feedback already to creative game studios that they just need to do another pass on this kind of stuff and make sure that the images match the game components. Because for like a brand new player, because this happened in the Start Here guide as well, and for a brand new player, I could imagine it being pretty off-putting. It would cause confusion, and people would say, what? Did I have the wrong tile? And so hopefully with the reprint campaign, they'll be able to work some of that stuff out and really get that cleaned up as much as possible. But beyond that, all we need is an interaction token, and we should be good to go. Interaction token, you can see over here on the side, if you can see that. I have all of my custom organization set up, including my tokens. Interaction token goes right there. I've got my heroes on the board. After you finish this setup, you are ready to play the adventure. Yep. So we're ready for the first round. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The one thing that I did forget. The Darkness Hunting Rune. It goes at the end of the initiative track. There's a spot literally labeled Rune. Okay. Beyond that, we're ready to go. So, we've got our initiative track over here. I hope you can see that. If not, trust me that it's here and that I am managing it as appropriate. I've got my character stuff written down. Just one note, Pietro does have a special item called the Amulet of Light, and on a one-time use, it can clear 2 darkness tiles off the board. So, I don't imagine he'll be using that anytime soon, but it's good to know. All right, hero's turn. At the beginning of the turn, harmful conditions, passive abilities, trigger, passives, toughness. So Vorn is still a defender. I don't know if that can change during the course of a campaign, if you're allowed to change it or not. For now, I'm not, but I'll look into that better. So he does have the 3 extra hit points, which means he has 15 hit points. And he's got the tactical advantage. Those are his only 2 passives. Support has the bystander. Whenever a hero ends a movement adjacent to you, they gain shield 1 and beacon of life whenever you roll a 16 or plus, 16 plus heal 2. Yep, so nothing I need to set up there. So we get our free move action, and then we can spend 2 cubes on actions. So Vorn is starting us out. And he is going to move 1, 2, 3 for his free move action. And then he's going to use a minor action to interact with this point of interaction. And you can see in the book, it tells you interaction token 2 is page 4 of the interactions book. Although, okay, perfect. And they are clearly labeled right there. Okay, so we've got some options here. This is very cool. Do we want to pull the blue torch, which is the source of the light in the room, drink the water from the fountain, pull the red eye stones, looks like he has some gemstones or something in his eyes, pick up the scroll that he has in his mouth, pull the handle on the statue, or pull the yellow torch? Very interesting. And I'm trying to remember, should I be... Yeah, sorry, I've been orienting these the wrong way. I'm still learning my new camera setup. I should just lift them straight up, which is a lot easier because I don't have to go around the thing there. I kind of want to drink that water. I mean, Vorn, he's a dwarf warrior. He's not afraid of anything. He's a defender. And honestly, I mean, he just went traipsing through this pretty creepy forest and he's a little parched. So he's going to drink the water from the fountain, which takes us to interaction number 54. Drink water from the fountain. You see the crystalline water coming out of a hole in the wall and your throat feels dry. You decide to drink to feel refreshed from the journey to the fortress. The water is almost supernaturally cold and refreshing. You gain focus 2. Very nice. Focus 2. Once I learn where all these things are laid out, it'll be child's play to grasp them. And so focus lets him use his focus abilities, one of which, crossed parry, he already has enough focus for, which is prevents all damage, and it's a reaction ability. That's really powerful. Interesting. So the next question is, yeah, you can only interact with a point of interaction once, so that's it for his activation, basically. I don't know that he's going to do anything else. Let's just take a look here. He's going to stop there, and he doesn't have to spend the cubes, so he's not going to. It does say a hero can use a skill even if it knows that some of its effects would be wasted, however. And that is interesting because he could do something like Whirlwind of Steel, Shield 2. I don't think so, though. That's a nice attack. Both that and Join the Fray are the two that would, like, buff me. He could do Battle Focus, but he doesn't have a red... Wait. My apologies. I'm like, he doesn't have any red cubes? That seems odd. So he does have the red cube. Maybe he will just do a Battle Focus, which just gets him another focus. So now he has 3, and he can use Hammer Crush. +3 hit attack, +3 hit attack, +2 damage. Very nice. So an extra 2 attacks with +2 damage and +3 hit. So that'll be it for Vorn's activation. And it comes around to Pietro, of course. So Pietro is going to take his move activation 1, 2, 3. And then he's going to use Protective Psalm to move 2 more. And he's going to shield 2 off of that. And he doesn't have to do it to himself. Because it's green, it has unlimited range, so he could shield Vorn if he wanted to. I think he's actually gonna do that. And then he's going to use his an action to interact with this spot again. So he's gonna interact as well. And so he's gonna pick up the scroll. Is he gonna pick up the scroll? Seems like it could be useful. Pick up the scroll. You carefully take the scroll from the gargoyle's mouth. It's an old thin piece of paper with a ritual written on the rotten page. You start to read it aloud and a gleam starts to emanate from the runes on the scroll, getting stronger and stronger until it fills the whole room for a moment before it vanishes. A protection spell has been released from the scroll. All heroes gain shield 2. Wow, okay, well we are buffed through the roof here. I believe you can only have a maximum of 4 shield. And so Vorn the defender there needs to consider that. So he can open the door too on this activation, which I think he will do. The missing from Black River. It opens into a room called the weapon storage. And I will. The door opens into what appears to be an old armory lit dimly by candles. Several weapons lie scattered on the heavy wooden table, along with some scattered scrolls in various states of conservation. A draft pours through the open door, extinguishing the candles on the table. A shiver runs through you, but not from the breeze. As the room grows darker, a terrible chill fills the air. A hooded figure turns towards you at the sound of the door. Even in the gloom, you notice his hard-working hands, too calloused for a sorcerer. Perhaps a farmer's hands? Okay, so we've got a couple things going on here. I see. So let's start by building the room. We need dungeon tray 1, which is just the... I don't actually know if these are labeled. I don't see a label on them. I also don't see a need for it necessarily. Dungeon tray 1 is going to go right there. So if you haven't seen this before, this is how the dungeon is built out in this game. You open up these doors and it tells you where to go. There's also a QR code on it if you want to make the game harder, which I'm not really in a position where I want to be doing that right now. And then we need a bridge, BR1B. I have an organization guide for Chronicles of Drunagor that is either currently out or will be out soon. And as part of that, you may recognize my handy dandy little binder here. You may say to yourself, that is the work of a madman to build a binder for this game, but you know what? That's what I wanted to do, so I went ahead and did it. I'll pull these out real quick because they do affect some of the gameplay. Sorry if my head is in the shot there. Okay, so we need BR1B bridges. Yep, there we go. We also need D4B. So you can see I've organized the tiles into binder pages by size, basically. So D4B. Someone's at my front door. And then E1F, which is a very large. E1F. This is my first time actually using this organization system, so I imagine it would get considerably faster if I'd ever done it before, basically. All right. So this goes right here, just so. This goes here, and it's my first time using the bridges too. Let's see how these work. There we go. And then we spawn. So, one player, we have a white monster, skeleton archer, rookie. And a gray monster, rotten flesh, rookie. Ooh, my first gray monster. There's a treasure token, which I'm going to use the 3D tokens that I got with the Kickstarter, which I have not gotten around to painting yet. It goes right there. There's an interaction token, level 1. This one actually went away, so I might as well use that. Or no, 2. And then with 2 players, there's also a second skeleton archer. Okay, so let's get our monsters. Let's find our rotten flesh. He goes here. I may cut out this setup stuff going forward, but for the first time at least, I figured it would. There'll be people who haven't seen this before and don't know how an actual round plays and such. So I think it'll be useful to some of you. These are all the other white monsters. Let's go right back in there. And these guys, one of them goes here, here. One of them goes here. And they need their bases too, and I'll get those in a second. But that's it for the setup of the room. Okay. Let's get them out onto the board. So the way that you place these guys on the initiative track is you look at this symbol here, tells you what rune they spawn either under or over, and then there's an arrow next to it. So skeleton archers spawn over that. And the rotten flesh, because they're big and fat, they're really slow, they spawn under that, just so. Fighter on, or rookie on both. Is it rookie or fighter? Yeah, rookies on all. Get some bases out, and then we'll do a red base for our fat flesh friend. One question I have, I'm gonna need to look up real quick, is since they spawned, I assume that basically the activation token just kind of keeps moving. So if you have opened a door during your turn and a new setup has instructed you to summon a monster that appears right after your hero on the initiative track, when you finish your turn, the initiative token will move to that monster and it will be activated as normal. So they will activate. I prefer to use dice to track hit points instead of the little boards. I still need to get some more colored dice so that the dice color match the base number colors, but since there's only a few guys here, I'm comfortable with just winging it. So they've got 8 health. So you've got the yellow one, and then we'll just use a white die for the other guy. And then the rotten flesh, they also have 8 health. There's a question mark next to that. I don't really know what that represents. Okay, setup done. So you can see here, we're kind of precariously perched over a pit of spikes here, I think. Bleed 2. Yeah, which is very cool. And it's still Pietro's turn, actually, because so far he has done a free move action, a free interaction action, a free interaction action to interact with the token. He opened the door, but he still has 1 cube that he can spend should he choose. And we do have this disgusting rotten flesh who is going to try and move up. I don't think he's going to be able to reach me, but it's not a reason not to blast him if I can. So let's see. Burn. There's a lot going on in this game, so while you're learning, you have to keep looking. Target obtains X burn tokens at the beginning of the character's next turn. It takes 1 damage for each burn token, and then remove just 1 of them from its board. So we could hit him with Searing Light. I think that's pretty much all he can hit with at this range. Yeah, so he'll go ahead and do Searing Light. Heals 3, which does nothing, and then he burns 2 on Senior Rotten Flesh. Okay, so that's it for Pietro. Next up, the Rotten Flesh activates. So he's got a movement of 3, cleave 2, and he's got what's called the Shadow Aura. A small darkness tile is placed in the square occupied by the hero that suffered the attack. Place it below their hero miniature. It takes effect immediately. Oh, interesting. Okay. So the monsters are going to go ahead and activate. Yeah, so it moves or it attacks. He'll try to hit as many people as he can. Yeah, so this big idiot. He just moves 1, 2, 3, and he takes 2 damage from the burn, and then just 1 burn is left. Cleave 2, doesn't do anything. It's a melee attack. Shadow Aura doesn't do anything because he's not attacking anybody. So next we move to the Rune Phase. So we grab our handy dandy bag. Mix it up. A blue rune. Oh, the darkness. Okay, so again, some of this stuff is off screen, so I may not be able to exactly see what I'm doing, but I have my darkness tiles custom organized. I had to set up a little bit unusually here because of where I was able to actually mount this camera. So I'm on like the short end of my table, if that makes sense. Usually I would be sitting over here and I would have the full table to spread out. But because of where I'm set up, it made the most sense in terms of the lighting and in terms of the camera placement. And so my stuff is spread out a lot more than it normally would be. Darkness. Go back to our adventure book. Standard darkness behavior. Grow towards the strongest hero. Since I've never actually spawned darkness in a normal way in this game, I am going to take the time to take a quick look at the rulebook. It says the darkness is a mysterious enemy from another world and a constant threat. Interesting. Draw a rune token, find the darkness tile that is shown on the back of the rune. Put the rune token on the initiative track on top of the matching rune with the rune side up. Darkness behavior standard. Grow towards the strongest hero trying to catch it. The darkness tile fails to reach. The strongest hero. Strongest is the most health. Due to its shape, it should be positioned in such a way that it gets as close as possible. So this is basically going to come out. I did grab the right token. Yeah. It's trying to get to Vorn, and so I'm just trying to see if there's a way for it to get to both of them. I don't believe there is. So the darkness spreads just so. Darkness uses its standard effects, deals 2 points of damage to a hero that was caught, stepped on, or ended its turn. Penalty of -2 hit on all weapon attacks, and a +1 by heroes adjacent to or on top of a darkness tile or map. It gives a +1 damage boost to the monsters. So our noble dwarf would take 2 damage, but he actually just soaks it with the shield. And then you flip this card over. And so on the other side of the card, if you could see that, next time we draw 2 runes. Nasty. And that's it. That's the first round of Mission 2 of Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness. So I hope you enjoyed that. This playthrough will continue, but for the moment, I'm going to take a break, and I will talk to you later.